All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's do ourselves some watercolor painting this evening. Before we get started, I want to say hello to everybody. Hello, Angela, Tree Hugging Buddhist, Lab Excellent Jacqueline, Lab Accident, Lab Accident. I'm sorry. Hello, everybody. Hello. Thank you for joining me. So today I'm going to try to paint that little guy up there, that big old guy up there. I think it's going to be a fun thing to paint. I love painting rusty old things, and this certainly qualifies. Bicycle Repairman is here. Hello, hello. With that, I'm going to jump in. Oh, I should say, let's start with the supplies that I'm using. I want to say that this is Strathmore 400 series watercolor paper. Not exactly sure, but it feels like it to me as I pick it up. But it may not be. I'm not exactly sure. I've got just a little stack of paper left from a big... I took every bit of paper I had in big notebooks at one point in time and cut them down, and they've kind of gotten mixed, so I'm not sure exactly what notebook they came out of, but we'll deal with this paper as we see it. I've got my paints over here. All of these colors are M-grams, and I love M-gram paints. Let me start. You'll see the scroll right, whoa, where's it at? Right over here, all the colors I use. I believe it starts here with turquoise and works its way around the palette this way. If at any point in time anybody has any questions about my paints, please ask away. I'm happy to answer them. I just found a strange paintbrush on my desk. That can go over there. For the most part, the brushes that I'm going to be using today are out of focus. They are my Da Vinci Casaneo brushes. They're synthetic hair. They work very much like squirrel hair. They hold a ton of water. These ones were specific for, they make different brushes that they market to different things. I brought these for sketching or plein air painting, and I think they work really well. So I found these in my vast trove of brushes a while ago. I tried them out, and I'm re-liking those. If I do have anything specific, if I do anything really small that I need to get to, I'm going to be using my King Art brushes. I do still love my King Art brushes. I've got the whole set. I've got them all here. Right, here's another one. But I'm trying to limit myself a little bit. I keep going out of focus here. Tree Hugger, you said M-grams are your favorite paints. They are wonderful paints. Okay, let's just jump right into this. And I'll tell you how I'm going to do this before I get started. I'm going to put on my sky, and I'm probably going to bleed that into a little bit of the tree here. I'll probably leave the top bit of this the roof of this unpainted, but I'll pick it up down here and paint all the way down here, and including the foreground here, just to get a layer of paint on there. Not that I don't want anything here, not that I mind a whole lot, but I don't want to get that bled out in there. So probably skip that initially. I've got a few colors on my palette already from the last painting I did, and I'm just going to kind of add on to those. And I don't want a super bright sky, but I do want a nice color. I've got some fresh water up here, right up there. It's all nice and clean. And off we go. So please ask questions away. That's part of the fun for me of doing these live streams, is that I get to answer questions. I hope part of it's fun for you guys, that you get to ask questions too, but for me, I get to answer questions. I get to I get to feel like I'm giving back to a hobby that I like so much. That is watercolor painting. So please don't hold back if you have questions. Throw them out there. Let's see, I think I could probably try to put this on nice and light. So there's going to be some. Let's just go in with some green over here, right? Let's do that. I'm gonna mix a green. The green I'm mixing up, I love. I know. People tell me it's not always the best to use it, but I love phthalo green. You can mix it with a lot of colors. It mixes well. It plays nicely with others. The funny thing is, it plays nicely with others. What it doesn't do is play nicely by itself. It's 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 just such a, well, let's do this. Let's get some color over here. It's just such a harsh color on its own, but it does it. You mix it with something that plays very nicely. All right, I got some green on here. I'm going to mix up just a little bit of rust color for me. And I know I'm moving very quickly. It's warm in the studio again. It's probably warm everywhere right now. So I don't want this to dry all that much. I'm trying to keep a little bit of wet edge. Let's see if I can get real close to that without touching. And I can probably just paint over most of this. It's gonna have a dark color over top of that anyway, so I could probably paint right over top of this. And as I come down here, and I'm looking at the reference photo, again, it's up there, this door is much yellower here, so I'm just going to mix in some yellow as it goes down. Like that. Oh, the hood over here has quite a bit of red in it. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. I got a little carried away. It's even warmish here in Australia. Oh, Angela, you're tuning in from Australia. Oh, it's your winter, right? It's getting on in our summer. It's your winter down there. See, I always think that it's always warm in Australia, regardless. That's just, I will admit, that's just my bias from where I grew up and my understanding of things. But if that's not true, I'm happy to learn to change. Let's see. I'm gonna mix a little bit of this cerulean blue, and I'm gonna put a little bit here. Mix this with my red, and I'm trying to go around these parts that are gonna kind of get some chrome color to them. I'm okay if I get a little bit of gray in here. Yeah, see, it's everything is drying up really quickly here. Really quickly. I should have tried to go through and just pre-wet everything, but I don't always find that works for me. I mean, normally I can make it work as wetting the paper as I go. And we're going to hope that that's going to work out this time, too. Let's just paint that like that. I don't know. It's funny to me that it's warm in my studio today because as the rest of the United States is sweltering in heat, where I live in California, it's remained quite pleasantly cool. I get up in the morning to go to to go to work, my day job, and it's in the upper 40s in the morning. It's in the upper 40s. It's chilly. I think it was 46 when the car told me it was 46 this morning when I left home. So it's quite chilly here, and the rest of the country is sweltering in a massive heat wave. um, Jacqueline, you're in Arizona, and it's blazing hot. It is blazing hot in Arizona. I do know that. Um, let's see. I'm going to mix in a little bit of maroon here. So I'm just going to kind of continue to alter these colors. This is a maroon paraline. And if I wanted to, if anybody wanted to, if they were doing this, they could use that maroon itself almost as a rust color. That's how dark and bold that color is. But for me, most of the time, I do like using. Let's see if I can just blend some of these out and get rid of some of these tide lines here. Just a little bit. You can do it if it's just barely wet. You can just save it a little bit by just barely having some water on your brush and pulling that around. Cool here also on the Olympic Peninsula of Washington. Wow. All the way from the Pacific Northwest. I love it. I have to say, that is one area of the country that I never have really made it to. I've been pretty much everywhere else in the United States, but never been really to the Pacific Northwest. I would love to go. 64 up there sounds about right to me. I don't get it's funny because I go to work in the morning, and I said it's upper 40s here, but where I work it'll be 10 to 15 degrees warmer, and then as the day goes on, it'll warm up in town, and it'll get up to the upper 70s, low 80s, something like that. And to me, I'm like, yeah, that's not bad. And then I'll drive home, and I'll drive into the mid 60s. I'll drive into the mid 60s, and then I'm like, woo, it's freezing cold here. Which, right, I have a long sleeve shirt on. Oh, it's freezing cold here. And then I'm here for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and I kind of acclimate to it. And I'm like, whoa, man, it's comfortable here. And then if I go anywhere else, if I have to go back into town for some reason, and it's a normal temperature, then all of a sudden it becomes way too hot. Oh, I went to the fair. The fair is even further inland. Jacqueline says, "Brr." Angela, that's about the temp there. I had to go to I didn't have to go to the fair. I went to the fair with my kids. And look, now I have all this blue down here. Let me get some yellow into here. Let's make a green. Anyways, the fair is, even further inland than the town. It's on the other side of town, and we got there and found out that, we didn't find out because we checked the temperature first, but the temperature at the fair was in the upper 90s. So I'm driving in from 60-degree weather into upper 90s. Whoo! Talk about a shock. That was something. Okay. Now before I forget and before I get too far into this, If you can see the reference photo over here, where is it at? You'll see there's some chains and something hanging down from the front of this truck. I didn't bother to put it on. I didn't think it added a whole lot to this reference photo. And so I just took whatever liberty and deleted it. Liza is here. Welcome. So that's always one thing we, watercolorists talk about, is being able to simplify the image that you're looking at and that you're working on. And it's not always an easy thing to do, to simplify the image. But in this instance, I was lucky enough that that just seemed like a no-brainer to me to pull that out of there and take it off. If you look at this truck before and after, right? If you look, or I should say, if you look at the reference photo and then you look at the truck after it's painted, you're not gonna. It's not gonna go to your eye there. You're not gonna go, oh well, this isn't on there, so it's not quite right. It's just, I don't know. It's one of those things that, in this instance, it was pretty easy to see that it didn't need to be there, and I could just take it out. I'm gonna try put some dark back here. We need this to be a bit dark back here anyway. So I'm gonna, while it's still a little bit of wet, I'm going to drop in some of this Payne's Gray, some more of this Payne's Gray, I should say. And that's going to help us start with our shadow underneath this truck. This probably comes out like that a bit more. And Eliza, you hit the thumbs up. Thank you. Everything helps. The funny thing for me, when I quit doing this a year and a half ago, I thought everything was good, or everything was good, I guess I should say. There were ads on here for me, everything was good. There were ads on here, everything was looking right, and then I went away for so long that YouTube has revoked my right for ads. And so I have to work my way back up the chain again to be able to monetize my stream and whatnot. So all of the likes, all of the views, all of that kind of stuff, that really helps. Tell us about the gifts of Payne's Gray. I don't know if I've ever heard it described as a gift of Payne's Gray. Oh, that's the wrong blue. Sure. Payne's Gray is a cold gray, right? There's quite a bit of blue tint to it. It actually blends well with other cool colors-ish. And I don't know what is back there. Oh, that's like the back of the truck, way back there. Let's put some extra, a little bit red in there. That's painted maybe a little bit. There we go. Okay. Payne's Gray is fun. It's a wonderful color. The only issue I have with Payne's Gray is that in many instances, not in all instances, in many instances, it will dry much lighter than the surrounding colors. So if I put neutral tint on a page and it dries to, 50% of the original intensity of the color, and then I put Payne's Gray next to it, Payne's Gray will probably dry to, 35% of that tint, something like that. Just something to watch for. But it's a nice gray. It's a fairly neutral gray. Most grays are a bit neutral, but it's a nice neutral gray. It's, like I said, it's a little on the cool side, so it's sometimes easier just to make the gray that you want. And I think it's super easy to make a gray, and it's just ultramarine and burnt umber, and you can tint it colder with a little bit more blue, and you can tint it a little warmer with a little bit more of that burnt umber, and it's a fantastic little gray you can mix up in no time. And Payne's Gray versus neutral tint. So Payne's Gray versus neutral tint. Do I have a sheet of paper? I'll show you. I got a sheet down here. While this is drying, what do I have here? The Payne's Gray. Let's do this. Right, a little on the blue side. If I turn it, you might even actually be able to see some of the blue that's in there. And we just pull this down. It's going to granulate a little bit. That's probably part of the M-gram range. Now my neutral tint, much more purpley. It's still a neutral, but it's much more, much warmer. Here you go. Look, you can see my neutral tint is usually a bit stronger than this too. It's just not quite as wet. There you go. It's much warmer. And neutral tint usually mixes with everything else. The Payne's Gray now this is hot press paper, so you're not going to see much of it. The Payne's Gray will drop out typically a little bit more. It'll granulate a little bit more than the neutral tint will. Come on, get in focus. Maybe I quit waving it around a little bit. There you go. But you can definitely see that's cooler. You can see some of the blue in there, and this is much warmer. Jacqueline says you only use Payne's Gray for mixing greens. Interesting. I don't know that I use Payne's Gray for mixing greens, but it probably would work quite well. Okay. Most of this truck is pretty dry. And so, come on, why are we out of focus today? All right, so we can really start putting in some detail now on this. We've got our first layer. It looks, this is why you're here. It looks kind of a mess. And that's kind of the fun of watercolors is, it looks really kind of choppy. It looks a little strange until you're about 80% there, and then it's all going to come together. I'm going to start by doing, okay, so here's what I did. I got a little carried away, and I've noticed I do this with these Casaneo brushes. I tend to mix more than I need. I have a big brush. The bigger the brush, I go back into my water, which is up here, plunk, dip into my water, come over to my color, and add more water. As a result, I get all of this. You can see it all down here at the bottom, and I don't want that. I'm trying, I promise you, I'm trying to mix only the amount of color I need. That's obviously more than I need. If I can clean a little bit of that, brush a little bit of that down, what I want to get in is a little bit of this ultramarine and some of my burnt umber and make a nice gray in here. And you can see, because I'm gonna start to add some value inside these windows. We're gonna make part of this truck pop out by putting in some darks here. And here I don't mind if I've got a little bit extra blue, because this is going to be in a dark shadow back here. Come on, come on, come on, color. And this is one of those areas where you don't need to paint this whole thing through. You could have left this white and then painted on top of it. I think that when it's all said and done, this is going to end up dark enough that we're not going to notice too much of the under color that goes along with it. I'm just going to turn this around and give a little bit of color here and there, right? And I'm gonna leave that big brown spot right there. One of the other things I'm trying to do is be more watercolory. if that if that makes any sense to anybody, watercolor painting, it just has kind of a look and that you don't get with any other medium, and part of that is the colors blending together on their own, and so I'm hoping to leave a bit of that here. See, this is going to be a green tree through there. Something like that. Actually, let's go a little further than that. As I'm looking at it from this side, let's go just a little further. Something like that. And maybe there's a little bit that we can see of this on that side. There we go. All right, so we're starting to define some of the dark areas. Oh, Thirsty for a Brew is here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And as I'm working with the dark color, I'm just going to keep my little tiny spot here. I'm going to keep it going. Maybe just a little bit more water. And I'm going to paint some of the area in the grill here. Nice dark. It took me a long time to draw these lines in here. And when I put on just a little bit, I might put a little bit of silver on there. I paint realistic and not typical watercolor. Trying, yes. Trying to be less strict. Less strict is so hard. That's it. I don't know where we learn it. Right, we're obviously not born being strict because, as children, we're either not able to or not willing to paint exactly right. And anybody who's spent time around kids, they know that kids will swear something looks like something else, even though the shape and colors are nothing like what they think it is. And at some point, we all are taught, well, that's the wrong way to do things. And as a watercolor artist, if we hadn't been taught that, we'd probably be a lot better off, because then we'd be able to just let colors be colors and do whatever it is they want to do. I've been away from my studio over a year due to crime. Oh, Jacqueline, I feel for you. I suffer from migraines from time to time. I used to be much more. I've figured out what one of my triggers was, and so I've pretty much, that's wrong. I've pretty much conquered mine. Due to, you have migraines due to rotten roofers? Just too much noise. Are you sure it's rotten roofers and not fast enough roofers? It's taking a little longer than I thought it was going to take, but that's okay. Come on, let's get some more. Let's get some more color in here. We can get some more blue. I should really be varying these colors a little bit instead of just one old gray on here. I suffered from migraines for years and years and years. I used to work at a glass manufacturer, and it was a big enough operation that Picasso got over the strict realism. It's true, he did. Oh, and by the way, Susie, hello. Can't turn them off. Yeah. Yeah, migraines really are no fun. Mine, I worked at this place, and I used to just try to deal with them. And so I would go to work whether I had a migraine or not. And at one point, I was interviewing a candidate for a job there. I had a piece of paper in front of me that I had some questions on, and I was supposed to, um, read the questions from the piece of paper that I had and write down not necessarily their response, but my at least my thoughts on their response. And I was busily going through these interview questions, and at one point in time, I looked down at my question on the piece of paper, and I couldn't see any lines, I couldn't see any words, I couldn't see anything, and I didn't know what to do. I told the candidate, I was like, "You're gonna have to go and talk to somebody else for a minute because I can't see anything that's down here." They took me down to the doctor's station that was there, and they immediately sent me to the hospital because I guess one of my eyes was drooping and I couldn't even open it. That was bad. Let's see. Michael, Google 1 square inch of silence and you'll see why I live here. I'll do that. I'll probably do that after after the stream. Hi there. I got busy and forgot about the live. Totally fine. Okay. So let's see what we need to do now. So now we're starting to define some of the areas on here. And so as I'm looking at I've actually got a bigger picture of it over here. As I'm looking at it, this area of the truck is in shadow. So what I'm going to do next is darken up everything on this side, down the hood, right? Down to about here. And then down this fender and back there. Okay, so let's try that and wish me luck. Now on this side, all of this paint that runs down this side, that works for me. You can just grab some of these colors and just keep mixing and keep mixing. I think I'm going to put more brown up here at the top. Right, so let's do this. Let's get this nice soupy mix. And like I said, this one can all run down to the bottom, and I'm totally fine with that. Maybe a little bit more color up here. So I'm gonna make this fairly strong here because I'm gonna blend this out going up over the top. Right, I'm going to blend this out this way. There's so much water on here. There we go. I'm going to blend that out that way and then let it do what it wants to do, going up on the roof, and then I will decide what it needs to do coming down the side. And I think I see a bit more yellow over here. If I don't get perfectly around the door, if I don't get perfectly on the side, totally fine. Not a big deal because at least on the side over here, we have the opportunity to come back and put in some of the trees going around the side, some of the greenery, and we can always wrap that around if we need to. So that's not a big deal. Let's see, I want to add a little bit more here too. I want to have kind of a hard line here, I think. So somebody asked a question up here, and I need to get to that. Just give me one quick second. I want to blend this out, and I want this to be nice and smooth. We'll probably go up and add more onto that, but that's okay. So what's the question? Holy cow. I show up because Michael makes his work pop. I don't, I, sometimes the stuff I do pops and looks great. I would love to say all my stuff does, but I'm smart enough to know that not all of it does. Look, that's one of the things that's really harrowing about doing a live stream is that, and I've done a couple before, that I'm going to do something and, I'm putting myself out there to do this, and if it works out, fantastic. If it doesn't, then I feel crushed that it hasn't worked out the way I wanted it to. I feel bad for you guys who you don't get to see something that works out the way I think it ought to. Let's see. This is sepia. I love a little sepia. I am a big sepia fan. If nobody knew, I think I've mentioned that a million times or two. But but in reality, the live stream really is really can be a harrowing thing. Now look, see, it started to dry here, and I'm kind of fighting it at this point in time. I just need to get that color on there. I know there's a bit of rust that comes through here, bit on the door frame. I'm hoping that Eliza, you're a sepia fan too. Sepia is wonderful color. It really is. It sounds like it would be like the most boringest color you could have, but it's a fantastic color. Let's see. I'm trying to get a little bit of rust going on around here, without saying, "Hey, this is rusty and look at me." Even though it is, and you should. Okay, does that look like our door is done? Do we have any rust? Oh, we have some rust all the way up here too. Okay, this might be too dry. Let's give it a try. So let's get more of this sepia color on here. The drier this gets, the harder this becomes to do. And I'm trying to, I think that'll be fine. I'm trying to look up here. This is where all the chat is, and see what's going on in the chat. And then I'm trying to look at my reference photo over here, and then I'm trying to look at my picture here. It gets to be a little bit, you're nailing the rust. Oh, it's because I love rust. Okay, so here, this is some rust. I started doing this on, oh, I'll tell you this story. Okay, let me set this off to the side for a second. I'll tell you this whole story as I continue on here. Let's see. I need to let this dry a little bit. I'm going to come back up onto the hood back here. It's much redder up here. And this, I guess this painting or this reference photo came from the same place. I belong to a site called PMP Art, and you all can join if you want. There's nothing special about it. It doesn't cost anything. I got involved with it years ago, not long after it started. The guy who founded it, his name is Bob Davies, and he's an artist. He does all kinds of different things in Great Britain, and he put together this site as a way for people to post photos and for people to be able to paint those photos, right? So if you want to try to be a better photographer, you could post some paintings to, I'm sorry, post some photos to this site. Other photographers could get on there and say, hey, this is kind of a cool thing that you did here. This is what I did, kind of collaborate and whatnot. So I've been a member of that site for, I'm going to say a decade, maybe a little bit longer. And they have competitions every month, and sometimes I enter and sometimes I don't. Normally I don't. But this last month they had an entry for, I guess it was texture, right? Was the theme, and they'll give you a list of photos that you can choose from to paint, and I chose one, and it was some chains in the sea, or I'm God, I can't even talk. It was some chains from the sea, all rusty, but on the ground in front of some stones and whatnot. So I painted it, and I don't know how many entries there were. Many, 40 entries, 45, something like that. Anyways, I got fourth place. And so I was like, okay, fourth place. It's the best I've ever done on that site. It's probably the hardest I've ever tried to do something on there too. So I was like, fourth place is pretty good. I'm going to try to do another one of these, and we'll see how it goes. So the next one, I don't even know what I don't even know what the challenge is for this one. But so there was this rusty old pump that I thought was pretty cool. So I did this on Saturday or Sunday, just as a test to see how it goes. But of course, it's all rust. It's all rusty and brown and everything. So then that kicked off my whole, I'm going to do some more rusty things and have fun painting some rust again. And so that's why I've gotten back into rusty things. I love photography. Oh, Jacqueline, you love photography. Photography is wonderful. It's a wonderful hobby. It's probably actually cheaper than watercolor painting now. I don't know if that always was the case. I would suspect it wasn't. I did a fair bit of photography back in the day. I always ran into how I was going to pay to get my film developed. This is probably a lot easier now. Let's see. Attempting to pack. Well, wait. Lab accident. You're attempting to pack for your road trip. Where? Road trip. Where? Did you put on there? Did I miss? Where are you going on your road trip? Oh, it's coming up next. Heading to visit my grandparents and my dad before my dad moves and my parents surgery. Oh, that's awesome! I got to go and visit my father earlier this year, and I loved going back and seeing him. I hope you have a great time visiting with your family. I really do. I actually really wish I lived closer to my family. I don't know if they always like me so much, but I like them. I like spending time with them. Sometimes I think they would rather do without me, but they don't get to. Okay, just trying to put a little bit of color in here and bring this out a little bit. Might have got a little dark with that blue right there. Maybe it didn't need quite that much, but I thought it needed a little something. And we're gonna just put a little bit of a line of rust right up there. I could probably do this with a little smaller brush, actually. Feel like tonight I have to work real quickly tonight. It's probably due in large part to this paper, my mystery paper here. But again, it's okay. Right? It's okay. I don't mind using mystery paper. It's fun. I mean, Susie, not being able to talk is a right brain, left brain thing. Are you talking about me not being able to talk while I'm doing this? I don't know. Sometimes I don't think I'm using my brain at all. Paul will go well. Right. Um, Natalie, you had a trip from Arizona to upstate New York. Wow. That's a long trip. I like the rust. It looks good. Rust always looks good. I don't care how people do rust. Rust always looks nice. That's one of those things. First trip to in the biddy car. Oh, you know, you're nervous. Oh no. Oh, you like the blue that's in here? Yeah, there's it's got that blue in there. It just helps to set it off a little bit. It's kind of a neat thing. You know what I want to do? As I'm looking at this, I want this color to continue around here a little bit. I want a little bit more on here as I'm looking at this. I think that's going to be better. It's not a lot more. It's going to be better. I got a little dark right here. I got a little dark with that. Now I'm not too concerned because we can lift a little bit of that off. That's maroon perylene. There's a lot of that is maroon perylene, and I know that lifts off pretty nicely. What is the mystery paper, Liza? What is the mystery paper? That is a great question. I don't know this paper, and that's kind of bugging me a little bit. It really is kind of bugging me a little bit. It's mystery paper that I found in a drawer. I have a drawer called. I've got a little cabinet over here. I've got a cabinet called Arches paper, where I have just Arches paper. I have one for cotton paper. I have one for wood pulp paper, and then I have one for mystery paper. And this one was in my mystery paper. So your guess is as good as mine as to what this is. I'm trying to think what the other. So one that it could be is Strathmore 400 series paper or windmill paper. I had both, but it doesn't seem like a Strathmore paper to me. And I'm struggling to remember what other paper I had at the time when I was collecting and cutting all of my paper. And I don't remember. God, it was something. I want to say it started with an L, but it wasn't. I didn't have any like Royal Langnickel paper. I don't really remember. Please tell us the paper you love. Oh, the paper I love most. Well, that's easy. I mean, that's Arches cold press. 140-pound paper. It's wonderful. So I have a friend who won't use it. He says it's too hard. Legion? No, it wasn't Legion. Kind of trying to remember. I honestly can't remember what it was. I have a friend who won't use Arches paper. He says it's too hard, and he doesn't like the way it feels. I told him he's a little nuts, but But that's fine. I get it. It does seem as though it's a little hard. It's not the softest paper in the world. He likes. In fact, he has a contract with St. Cuthbert's Mill to use there. Um, so that's at this point in time, that's all he uses is St. Cuthbert's Mill paper, and he loves it, and he does a great job with it. I've tried it, and it's to me, it's okay. You can soak the sizing out before you paint on arches on leech. Let's say you're an arches fan. Arches, it's just wonderful all around paper. It just is. Um, Now I will tell everybody I splurged the other day and I bought myself. I mean, did I tell you last week? Maybe I told you last week. I bought about $140 worth of paper. I probably shouldn't have spent that much. But I wanted to try some new papers and to get some things going, and I thought that would spur me on. So I have quite a bit of new paper, and it looks wonderful. This obviously was drawn before I got that in, so I'm not using it now, but I'll start to work that in. I also got in a pack of, well, I should say, does anybody know New York City paper? New York something paper? I got a pad of that. I got some Fabriano paper. I got some. I don't know. I got a number of different kinds of paper. Most of them all cotton. A couple of them are cotton hybrid. I got some Hana Mule paper. I hadn't tried that before. There you go. I think we darken that window, and it really makes it look dark in there, right? I mean, it makes it look almost menacing in there. Now I'm going to try to use this blue that I have, or this green that I have here, right? I'll mix a little bit of blue with this. I started mixing cobalt. Oh, that's not okay. So the brown in that's just, or the orange in that has just gone brown. So I'm gonna get rid of it. My mistake. Thankfully, we can do that. So let's mix a new green, and I'm gonna start with cobalt green, and I'm gonna mix in a little olive green, and just a touch of blue. So I want this to be pushed back a little bit, maybe a little bit more. I'm gonna do these trees back here. These kind of go behind the truck. I really should use a slightly larger brush for this, but this will totally work. And maybe add a little bit more blue as we come down this way. Darker down here. Around that truck bed. There we go. Does that look like that's back behind it? You deserve to splurge. Wait, Jacqueline. You learned Thomas Schaller's now using Bao Hung paper. Oh, God, I see that Bao Hung paper everywhere. I would not have thought him to use that paper. I will say that's one paper I've never tried. It could be, and I haven't tried it because it's not cheap. New York Central paper. That's it. You think Jerry's just started promoting it? And Fabriano sizing is vegan based. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, so I've got some trees over here, and maybe I should have pulled that over a little bit. If we look at this, if we look at our photo, there's trees all over the top of this. I don't know that we need it, but we'll have two different trees that we need, two different areas we need to work on right now. So we've got this branch, and maybe it should have come down to here. I'm not going to worry about it. We can pull that around, and these will all be one. And then there's part of this kind of as a clump back in the back. So what I want to do is make a nice bright green. And I'm going to do that with a little bit of cobalt blue and Hansa yellow. I saw something pop up here. I have 3 pads of bow hung for my grandkids. Never thought of using it. That's so interesting. Cold blue or cold-ish blue. I'm sorry. Oh, warm blue, cold yellow. You get this. You get a really fun, interesting green. It's going to stand out quite a bit different from this one here. And I'm going to flip this over just to make some of this easy. I'm going to fill in some of the spots over here that we painted around before. I don't need to go over all of these, but some of these, kind of like that. And with any luck, this is going to look like this is growing right over part of the truck there. It kind of does. And then I'm going to wrap it around the side. This is where this undercoat I don't think it's going to matter all that much. All right, let's get a couple of dark colors in here, a couple of places, and bring that right on around. Maybe a little bit more water. So I'm hoping it's going to help this truck just kind of pop right off the page. It should. I guess I should have done the tree way back there a little earlier. We might even be able to leave those like that. Those are way back in the distance. They're not going to have any effect on our painting here. And as we come down to the bottom down here, we do need some darker colors in here. Right there, the further down we go, we get a few more shadows down here. Come on, let's get some. There we go. A few shadows in here. I'm not always the most patient with painting trees and whatnot. I don't know when I picked this up, but I just kind of throw the color in here and randomize that pattern a little bit, and somehow it usually works out to look kind of like not necessarily a tree, but foliage, some kind of foliage. There we go. Now we got trees on both sides of this truck, and it kind of does look like it's sticking out of there, right? This whatever's over here is growing right over the top of that. Oh, that makes me happy to see how that's coming over, just like that. I think trees are difficult. I've tried so many times to paint them. Jacqueline, I have to stop and think if I tried the first page before my New Year trip. Okay, wait a minute, I missed something. Just got a small pad of bao hong. I try to stay away from China products. It's hard. I don't know how. I don't think you can really stay away from too many Chinese products, can you? Excuse me. So much of everything is made in China. It's hard to stay away from all of it. Let's see. I want to add a little between the hood and the cab of this truck here. I want to put in a little bit of color. As I'm looking at it, it's too close, right? There needs to be a little something here to differentiate those two areas. So maybe that's going to be just enough. Like that. Come around just now. I don't even know if you can see it so much. I hope you guys can see it. This little bit of dark right here that I just went over, that pushes the hood forward, right? That hood that I left quite a bit lighter right there, because it's in the sun is kind of coming down this way, is now way forward from that dark bit back there, just adding a little bit more depth to what we're doing here. All right. Wow. What do we have to go yet? Oh, holy cow! We're at an hour already. Seems like we just got started with this. I'm shocked that we're an hour into this already. I think I feel like I've been painting super fast, and I feel like I need to pick up the pace. How did I get rid of my migraines? So it took a long time. And food journals and sleep journals and tracking what I did for a long time, and what I learned, and it seems silly, but what I learned was that for my body, I need to drink relatively more water for my body than other people do. So if you drink, I don't know, 3 cups of water a day or something like that, my body, 3 cups of water a day is not enough. I need to drink like 6 or 8 cups of water a day. And only after I figured out that I'm going to call it dehydration, right? I don't know that, I don't think I really was necessarily dehydrated, but not having all that extra water in my body was kicking it off. As soon as I was like, I needed to be super saturated with water. And so today, I'll drink this, right? This is 1.5 liters of juice. I drank 1.5 liters of water after I got home from work. I drank 2 liters of water at work. And if I don't, then it'll be 2 days and I'll start getting headaches again, and it's just, for me, make sure that I'm super hydrated. Just stay super hydrated, and that's the only way that I have found to not have migraines. And I know that's not a solution for everybody, and it causes other problems because any vitamins I get in my system, they get washed out pretty quickly, and so I take a high dose of other vitamins. And of course, if you're drinking that much liquids, then you've got to you know, run to the restroom a bit more often. So seems like I'm always going to the bathroom. But the upside is that my when I get up in the morning or throughout the day, my head isn't screaming and I'm able to function. Keep electrolytes. Yeah, doctor has me drinking coconut water. Oh, that's interesting. Tang. Oh, we talk about Tang in my family all the time. I loved my Tang when I had it, and but um, my wife doesn't want to buy Tang. She goes, "That's ridiculous. Nobody drinks Tang anymore." Uh, so I found this. It looks like Tang. It tastes like Tang. It's good enough for me. Eating organic helps a lot. I can believe that. I get my migraines if I drink coffee that's not organic. That's interesting. I tried the whole. I don't know about coffee that's not organic, but I do drink coffee, and I tried the no coffee and got a headache for a while, and then after a while that stopped going away, and then I tried other things, but I found coffee wasn't a trigger for me. Whether I drank coffee or whether I didn't drink coffee, in the end that wasn't a trigger. There's other things. Didn't know they still made Tang. They do still make Tang. Like you should have been here last year when I was streaming. We had lots of Tang on here. I loved my Tang. All right, so our wheels here. Let's see if I can't move this along a little bit. All right, these look like a dirty gray. So I'm going to put in some dirty grayish color here. Maybe a little bit more gray than that. Come on, Payne's gray. Come on, there we go. And then I'll come back in and I'll paint in some of the holes in these wheels a little bit. Be all good. There's that. I've got to paint underneath. It's really dark underneath here. Right, exceedingly dark underneath here. We can go maybe a little bit bluer under here. There's that. Let's get some. There we go. Just teasing me on my. I loved the Tang. I'm sorry. I thought it was fantastic. I'm simple. And look, it's it. You can tease me all you want. My kids tease me about it too. They think I'm ridiculous with the Tang, and I'm like, come on, you didn't grow up with sending anybody to the moon and knowing that Tang was there. It's on the orbiter. It's on the space station. It's in the shuttle. I'm like, come on, you gotta cut me some slack a little bit. I don't know that they believe that I need any slack cut for me. I'm going to get some of this red color and some dark, right? Lots of times I just call it dark, right? It's whatever colors sometimes that I already have on my palette to darken these colors up with. We need some darker colors in there, plus some of this red. We get down to the bottom down here. Maybe it's all rusted out back here. Something like that. Let's just do this whole thing. There we go. Come on. There you go. This old truck is starting to look like something. What do you think? It's starting to look like something? Let me get it out of the glare. There you go. It's kind of starting to look like something, right? I think it's looking pretty good. I'm going to put some, these are going to be some metal slats here. I don't know what this is. This was some kind of, I'll make that some kind of structure or something up on the back here. Sure what exactly this is, but we'll figure this out. Let's just put something like that on there. Put something that's kind of structure-ish on there. Nobody will say anything to you about it. Okay, so what I need to start doing here is, let's see, I've got some metal that needs to be on here a little bit. So a few pieces here and there. Let's go a little bit bigger and let's darken underneath here a little bit, right? Let's get a big, some shadowy color down here. I'm going to go with neutral tint for this and a little bit of burnt umber. Right, that'll be a good color for underneath here. And in this, I am going to pre-wet because it is a large area that we want to cover. All the way underneath here. This can come out. I got so much color in my water already that you can see it. Angela, you love watching it come together. It's a funny thing, right? Watercolors, you can start it and you can work on it and you can go for quite a while and you look at it and you're like, it's just not what I wanted. I don't understand what's going on. And then you'll take 3 strokes on a painting and you'll go, it looks totally better. Let's see. Love it. Did you show us the painting you did for the competition? I didn't show you that. And there's a very good reason I didn't show you that. It's because it's hanging up in my office at work. And so I can't show it to you. I would love to show it to you, but I can't show it to you because I don't have it here. But suffice to say, it's a 4th place finish. That's the best I've ever done. 4th place. I don't know if that's sad or good. Or a little of both, maybe. I don't know. But 4th place, I was pretty happy with that. I'm not satisfied with it, but I'm happy with it. Right? I think there's a big difference there. Totally happy with a 4th place finish, since I've never come close to that before. But now that I've got a little taste of winning, I'm hoping to do a little bit better at some point. So I'll just say, if anybody wants to go to it, I'm happy to plug them. It's pmp-art, literally pmp-art.com, and you sign up. It's free to sign up. It's free to use any of their pictures. All they ask is that you post back to let the person who posted it originally know that you're using it and be done with it. And everybody there is super friendly. said I've been there for years, and when I started out and wasn't overly confident in what to paint or how to paint or doing anything like that, there were a lot of people on that site that kind of stepped up and said, "Hey, you're not doing anything wrong. You might want to think about this or think about that, but you're doing fine." And it really was a nice confidence boost for me to be on that site. Okay, so I'm gonna mix some metal, and the funny thing about this to me is that, well, I got some green in there. Well, that's fine. Is that when I mix metal color, to me, it looks like turquoise and Payne's gray, right? If you look at the reflection on chrome a little bit, there's a lot of turquoise in there. There's some blue in there, not nickel plate, but chrome plate. There's a lot of blue in there, and then the chrome kind of tones it down a little bit. So for me, there's a lot of that color in here. What's really funny to me though is that I use the same colors when I paint glass, which to me is totally baffling, but I do. And I'm going to do the same like I did with those other ones. I'm just going to put on a base coat here, kind of our first layer of this on our headlights here. I missed the photo site. Went for what? Oh, you missed the photo site. It's PMP, literally a PM and a P dash art. Here, let me do this. PMP dash art dot com. I don't know if that'll let me do that. There you go. PMP-art.com. Literally, that's it. Super, super nice group of folks over there. In fact, I asked them. I got a message from the site administrator when I got my 4th place, congratulating me, which I thought was pretty nice. She didn't need to do that. And I said, "Hey, by the way, I'm going to mention this on a stream. Is that fine?" And she's like, "Yes, please do, please do." So I think they'd be happy to have a few more members over there. You get over there and you see my stuff, don't be too harsh. There's a lot of older stuff there from me, and to say some of it isn't good, well, maybe that's not fair. It's not. I don't think it's bad necessarily. It's primitive. It's rudimentary. Oh yeah, Jacqueline, you go there a lot. Yeah, okay. So it's a fine site. And like I said, the guy who used to run it, Bob Davies, sold a video set of watercolor painting. He said, "Here's how you watercolor paint," and it was fairly cheap. I say fairly cheap. It was like $60 or something like that for 10 CDs or something like that. Anyway, I have a copy of it. I haven't watched it in a long time. Angela, you just joined it. Fantastic. Yeah, join the monthly challenge. You'll see my painting there for last month. Join it, and yeah, they have. Let's see, I belong to Urban Sketchers group on there. Oh, I have some. I don't do a whole lot with, honestly. I belong to Loose Watercolor Painting on there, which I obviously don't do a lot of. But if you get into some of those groups, or if you post a couple of paintings and you say, "Hey, I really would like some help with this," I always, from what I've found, somebody's willing to jump in and help out and say, "Hey, this is how I found the best way to do this or to do that or whatever. So super, super helpful. I'm happy to give them a little props. I have a lot of photos I've been meaning to submit. Oh yeah, see, there you go. All right. So we a little bit dry down here yet? Not quite as much as I would like. How about these? So can the insides of these. Try not to touch my hand down here because I'm gonna do what I always do, which is get my palm in the paint, and then before I know it, I've got a palm print everywhere. Come on, why can I not get a little color? There's a little color there. Okay, let's get on the inside of it. Oh, that's better. That's better. Okay, now that dark. Let's pull that out a little bit. I got too much water on here. I really should do more on that site. I was excited after I joined. I think I've deleted all of the stuff from there, but after I joined, when I joined, there were only like I want to say 100 people there, and I've been there for a long time. Maybe more than that. They weren't very many. And I posted a whole bunch of drawings that I did. I used to have more time in my day to do some drawings and stuff like that. I posted them, and they came up on their homepage. They used to show everybody's stuff right on their homepage. Hey, this was just submitted by so and so, and so I submitted stuff, and it came right up to the homepage. And I was like, yes, I'm there. People can see me. It was fun. I'm still happy to put stuff up there, but I don't get quite that excited about it. Not quite. All right, I need. Come on, some a little bit darker. We got some deep pits in a couple of things here. Whatever these must be some kind of turn signal or something. Got one here. Let's get something deep in there. Now I want to get my rigger brush out. I know we still haven't done any wheels on here. Those still need to get done. We're gonna get to them. But I do want to just do some indication of a few lines here and there. Right around the windshield. We need to be able to see that there's something here. Right, that comes down. That's a hinge. We can even enhance these with a line around it here and here. I'm not exactly certain what that is, but I don't think it matters that much. I'm going to try to enhance a couple of these by just putting a shadow line underneath a few of these. This is where it's easy to go a little south with this. It's so much easier not to do this and just go, oh, it looks okay. But if you put them on there, then you get a little bit darker shadow. Natalie, oh, you already had a log in there. Oh, my changes were cool. Thank you. I tried to make them cool. I thought they turned out great. All right. Let's see. A couple of lines here. A couple of lines here and there. Right, some dots. Just a couple of things here and there. All right. Oh, you know what I want? I want one up here too. Right. This goes. Got that line on the door right there. Do we even have a door hinge? We do have a door or a door handle. We got one right here. We do now. There's our door handle. Okay, so we're down to a couple of we're down to a couple of things. We're getting there. Oh, I'm gonna use something a little bigger than this. I don't use the rigger all that much. I think I want something even bigger than this. Let me go with this big brush here. All right, there's some stuff in the foreground here, right? This is kind of the more impressionist bit of everything I do. I don't want to spend all the time putting lots of stuff in the foreground here. But a few well-placed lines really will add quite a bit of interest and dimension to what we're doing in here, right? They'll make this. They'll just make it a bit more interesting. Maybe we can even add a little bit of green. We could. This would be a great place to add a little bit of red, something red in the front to draw this in, to draw this forward just a bit. You could add a couple of, sprigs of something here and there. Just something to add some interest in the foreground here. There, something, I don't know, something like that. That's pretty good, right? So now we got a little bit of movement in front. Now we're really down to actually. I'm actually liking the door that's on here now. You can see it going around. It's kind. It's. I'm really happy with the way this is coming together. Okay. Let's do a little bit on the bumper here first. We got this color, and let's make this a little bit. I don't know. Okay, this is rust. Got some rust on here. Some rust just. This bumper's gonna. This is one old rusty bumper here, right? It's got some dark bits on it. On this side, we need to make this stand out off of the truck. It's got to be off of this truck, right? Can't have that right up on it. It's always funny to me to I look at something like this and I go, how am I going to do this? And you just start dropping in a couple of colors onto it. Who knows what life this bumper has had, right? This bumper's had a tough life. It's run into, I don't know, a fence or two. It's been used to pull some cars out of a ditch, maybe. We just make up a story about this bumper, but here it is, and it's still hanging in here on this truck, but it's seen better days, and you just put some color on here, and however you do it, it's going to end up looking just about right. Quick as that. We've got a bumper on here. The last thing we need to put on are these tires. I don't know why I waited so long to put on the tires. Okay. Let's do some tires. I'm going to clean off this little spot. I got to get my napkin that I cleaned up with before. I think chat has slowed down a little bit. It's hard for me to get in and read some things earlier. Uh-oh, I just looked up. We've lost some people here too. We're down a few. I'll take the blame for that. All right, so tires aren't black and they're not gray. They're kind of a some. If you look at them, there's some blue in them. There's definitely some purples and browns in there. So I like to use a lot of neutral and some sepia in here, and do my tires kind of that way. So I'm going to do that, and we're going to see how they end up looking. Hopefully they'll be fine. If I come down to the bottom down here, I can add quite a bit more of this sepia. And there's nothing that says they have to be all the same color all the way around. It can be whatever they're going to be. All right, we can even put some blue on it back here. Just come on, blue. Or even just that little bit of blue, that's going to push that back, and visually you're going to see it being more round. Still here enjoying it. Lots. Thank you. Thank you for hanging in there with me. Wheels are one of those things, I always thought they're surprisingly difficult to paint, right? We all know what a wheel or a tire, whatever, looks like. But we never really take the time to look at one. We just go, oh yeah, well, it's a round thing. It's dark. It's kind of under the car, whatever, right? But we don't really look at it. It was, God, it was painting a tractor or a truck. So, I don't know, a number of years ago, and I just pulled out a gray and I went, oh, okay, here we go. Let's paint this tire. It's going to be gray. And then I kind of looked at it and I went, it's not gray. There's all kinds of other colors in there. And that's kind of when I decided, well, really, let's see. Sherry, I'm just enjoying the process here. I think you're doing a great job. Oh, thank you. On an old clunker. The old clunker, I hope you're talking the truck and not me. It might be me. Either way is fine. I just, I just want you guys to enjoy watching it. I hope everybody who watches is a watercolor artist. I don't have any idea if you really are. But more than that, I hope anybody who tunes in gets a bit of enjoyment from watching me try to paint something live in front of you. It's honestly not always that easy. It is a little nerve-wracking. And it's always, regardless of how it goes, it's always enjoyable to do. Like I said, I love watercolor painting, and I'm going to do it regardless. So if I can have some friends along with me, they're going to watch as I do it, then I win. I win because everybody's here. Good. Oh, good. I'm glad you're talking about the truck. I try to make it an enjoyable stream. I know that sometimes it's not always the subject that everybody wants, everybody likes. I get that. Sometimes you have to, you just have to sometimes paint what you like or whatnot, or do what I like. And if somebody else doesn't like it, okay, then I hope you just get the enjoyment out of it. Let's see. I don't know. I don't think I have these drawn on here quite right. Honestly, I have another one here. one here. It's got some lugs on here somewhere. Something like that. Let's see. Color is our thing, guys. We enjoy watching others paint too. I. It's. Does anybody else think it's funny when somebody says, "Oh, that's like sitting around watching paint dry," and I would go, "You do realize I do that for like 4 hours a day? I just watch paint dry. It's part of the process." There we go. Now we can see kind of some of that. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't like this is too bright here, so I'm going to knock this color back a little bit back here. Actually, give me some more of that blue in there. That's kind of in the bed of the truck back there. Yeah, I don't know. That might be my least favorite part back there. Maybe just paint over that with a little bit of dark. Let's see. It's got to be darker back there. It's part of the truck, but it's back in the bed. It's back there. That might be better. That tones that down. That was such a bright spot right over on the side there, and I didn't enjoy it. Actually, I don't think it's a perfect rendition of that truck, but I think it's kind of nice. Let's see if we can do this. If I were to frame this, oh, look at that. Everything looks better framed. Looks a little sad. I think I drew these kind of a little arc down. It looks a little sad. But all in all, I think he looks great. I'm happy with the way he's turning out. It's your channel. You do watch. I am saving you from some of the mashups that I paint. I don't know how anybody feels about some weird mashups, but I'll save you from some of those. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit more of a gradient on here just to set this off a little bit. This is the part where I fiddle and I go, oh, do I need to do that? Do I have to? Should I do? I don't know what to do. And you fiddle around a little bit, and sometimes you end up with something that looks great, and sometimes you end up with something that looks like, why did I do that? Well, I'm going to try to do a little bit here, just to add a little bit more. I want to try to keep. Actually, that little bit I think helped bring this forward. As I look at things, and as you guys look at things, as you're doing paintings, you should try to, especially if it's a subject like this, you should try to engender some depth, right? And the easy way to do that is to put light next to dark, light next to dark, light next to dark. All right, lighter next to darker, especially here, right? That pushes that back. Light next to dark, we put a little cove in here. Over here, light next to dark, so we have a little differentiation here. Actually, I'm going to make that a little bit bigger on this side now that I'm looking at this. Just a little bit bigger over here. So light next to dark, one of those things that we can do. There we go. Now it looks like there's a bigger differentiation there. And I don't know if there really is. On that truck, it doesn't look like there's that much, and that's fine, right? We're not necessarily trying to reproduce the truck as we see it, or I'm not trying necessarily to reproduce that truck as exactly as I see it, right? And I've always encouraged you guys, brush not brush, try. Dry brush always helps with rust. Shoot, what was I trying to say? Oh, I always try and encourage you guys to not necessarily try to duplicate the image that you see, right? It's okay, take the general image, right? I've got the general image of that truck, right? If I push this up in the corner, you can definitely see that this was inspired by that. There's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of differences. And I look over here as I'm painting to get some general color, right? I want yellow here, I want some blue here or blue here. I didn't really need to do that because in the end, it doesn't matter. What I want to do is give the feel of that truck and get something that is appealing to the eye. And one of the things that I think is really appealing is when you have layers in here. So, right, you can definitely see this is in front of that. And you can see that this is in front of that. And it adds a lot of depth across the painting this way. And you can see that this is in front of that and in front of that. And that is definitely grown over here. And, you know, it just helps keep continuing that depth. So one of the things, I don't know, maybe I got off on a little tangent there. I don't know. Angela, now you're going to go out and paint a rusty image. Do it. If you get into the challenge on PMP, you can do this one. It's in that list somewhere. Okay, I think what I'm going to do right now, you know what I'm going to do? I got a new pen. How about this? I got a new pen, and I can put a highlight here, and I can put a highlight here. And I probably can put a highlight up here. Anywhere else I can put a highlight on this? Those might be the only places. But I got a new white, actually I got a white pen in. Check this out, I got a silver pen too. If it was fresh metal, I could put a highlight on it with that. And I think with that, I'm going to sign it. I'll sign it down here. And I'm going to call this one good. I think it's a fair representation of that. Depth tips are what I will take away from this painting. Okay, there you go. Perfect. Lab accident. You tend to lose patience sometimes too. It's easy to do. It's so easy to do. So a little, you know, respective on this painting here. I like the colors through here. I like the blues. I like the yellows mixed with the reds. I like the bit of rust here and there. I kind of wish that I had done it with slightly different paper. I think could have done a little better job if the page had stayed wet for a little bit longer. But I'm not going to worry about it. I love how this grows over and hides part of that. But I left this little bit of black here and this little bit open here. It's still green, but it's not covered up. I think that gives a nice bit of interest in here. I think my favorite part of the painting, and you're going to think this is a little funny, is this little bit right in here. I love the colors that mix in here. I think it's a lovely little bit of the painting. All in all, I think it's nice. I had a great time painting this with you. I hope you guys all had a good time painting it with me. I think next week, since I didn't do it this week, I think next week I promised I would do some kind of a sailboat. I'm excited because there's a tall ship in harbor right now, and I'm going to go down probably tomorrow night before sunset and try to do a sketch of that. And so that might be what we end up doing next week. If not, it'll be some other kind of painting. I walked down to the water on Saturday and Sunday to try to take some photos of some sailboats down there. And it was so foggy, I could hardly see the sailboats. So no pictures there, but we'll figure something out. So look for some kind of a boat next week. Thank you all for being here with me this week. And I hope to see you all again next week. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.